So first of all, congratulations on the Rhodes Scholarship, and thank you so much for agreeing to chat with us today for our ninth episode of our Community Showcase series. My name's Quinn, and I'm a second year IR student and the communications exec for the IR Society.
And my name is Vamika Jain, and I am VP of Communications at the IR So today we'd just like to ask you a few questions on behalf of the IR community. To start with, could you tell us a little bit more about yourself for those who don't already know?
First of all, thank you so much for even chatting with me, and this is going to be fun. I can already feel it. But I'm a fourth year student studying criminology and international relations with a minor in African studies. I'm also currently the president of the Arts and Science Students Union, and I hope to graduate in June of 2021. So that's just like a little bit about who I am here at the university.
Thank you. So let's first speak about your most recent remarkable accomplishment, the Rhodes Scholarship. Could you talk to us about kind of the challenges leading up to the nerves, the application process, and why you applied in the first place?
Yeah, so I got an email in the summer, asking to consider applying. And honestly, if you asked me last year, I don't think I would have said that I would have applied to the Rhodes Scholarship because it is a very, daunting process, but it's just such a big thing as well. And I wasn't sure if that was, something suitable for me or something that I could even obtain. So, I got the email, I think back in May or June, and then I waited like a month to do anything about it. I was able to talk with my registrar's office at Vic College. They were super helpful in terms of, guiding me through the process and looking over my CV and giving me the confidence I needed to apply. My friends were, very supportive as well. And, once I decided to take that step to apply, it just got even more nerve-wracking from then on because, you have to submit a 1,000 word personal essay on yourself. You have to submit, an updated CV. You have to get some references. But all in all, as I was going through the process, I was able to feel more confident in what I was doing. But most importantly, which is something that I never even thought would happen, I got to learn a lot about myself because I was doing a lot of different drafts about myself. And I wanted to make sure that whoever was reading it could get a great sense of who I was without meeting me. So, it was a really fun process actually moving forward, the writing bits and just getting to know myself more and finally getting to submit that end of September, which was really cool. And then moving forward, prepping for interviews and whatnot, that part is also nerve-wracking. I think a lot of it is prepping for things, prepping to actually do things that scare you because you haven't experienced it yet or you haven't gone and done it. So that was the same when I started my application. It was the same when I started to go into my interviews. It was the prepping bit that really got me scared. So I prepped for interviews for a really long time. But once I got to the interviews, I was very relaxed. It was a very calming experience. Again, I got to learn a lot about myself because I was asked questions that I didn't think I would be asked. So I really did genuinely love the whole application process, which is really funny, but I really did because it was really fun. I got to do a lot of things and learn a lot about myself, but I think it's prepping and getting yourself in the mindset to do things that is a scary bit. So just taking that step forward and just actually believing that you can do something and try to do it is that nerve-wracking part, but I got over that. So but that was basically my process. I came out of it feeling really great, and I'm glad I did it. I'm really glad I took that first step and even decided to put an application forward because I truly was not at a certain point. So
Well, thank you so much. And it's really interesting that you bring up how the process itself, like not even the eventual achievement, but the process itself was such a beautiful learning experience and an unexpected one at that. Okay. So we want to talk a little bit about the programs as well, because the IR community is super proud of you. And at university, you studied both criminology and IR. So could you speak a little bit about your experience in both programs and has it right now and will it in the future, the interdisciplinary perspective, impact your approach to further studies in criminology?
So I came to the University of Toronto knowing that I wanted to study international relations. It was one of the few universities or institutions that offered a program like that. it's all because of where I've grown up and, who I've surrounded myself with. I come from a community of immigrants and refugees. I come from an overly stigmatized community as well. So a lot of what I was seeing, I thought international relations could provide some answers for, because, I really wanted to know how conflict in one area could somehow transpire cross borders and meet a new country, which was Canada. So for me, it was the Somali diaspora still struggling here in Toronto. And at the same time, I wanted to learn more about the law. I wanted to learn more about its systems. I wasn't too familiar with what criminology was before coming to U of T, which was incredible, because throughout my first year, I got to understand that we have this program called criminology, that we have this study of understanding, how the law is enforced and the different ways it's enforced and how different people are affected by the law. And I thought it was incredible to even have a program like that. So, combining the two made a lot of sense for me, because while I did want to learn about the law and its mechanisms and, how it was enforced, I also wanted to understand, well, this international factor of things. How does politics come into play? How does movement come into play? Borders come into play? So while I'm in criminology, a lot of my, focuses, a lot of my interests rely on not just the law, but how it impacts immigrants and refugees in particular. And then when I'm in international relations, I try to take this legal focus into a lot of the works that I do. So it's really great combining the two disciplines here. And then I started to take African studies courses as well. So I'm an African studies minor. And that really, really brought everything into perspective, because you understand how different people are placed beneath other people as well, power structures, how colonialism comes into play, histories come into play, into this whole narrative of what we see today and what I've been seeing my entire life in my own community. So it really was to answer what I've been observing. And moving forward, I mean, hopefully what I hope to do at Oxford, I hope to complete an MSc in criminal justice and criminology. And in my research, I do want to have this heavy focus on this international understanding of things, bring politics into my legal understanding, and then continue to focus on immigrants and refugee communities. So that's what I hope to do. And it's really exciting bringing everything together and just seeing it happen at U of T, right? So.
Thank you. And related to that, in your interview in the varsity, you described your experience in first year with imposter syndrome. I'm sure many can relate to that. I certainly can. So how do you think that has informed your approach to mentorship work for Somali youth and your student leadership at the ASSU? And what do you think your journey means for youth who maybe feel on the outskirts of opportunities for growth and success like this?
So it's a really, really beautiful question. When I came to U of T, I remember the first month of coming to U of T, how I felt. I truly, and it wasn't just the classrooms were fine. I felt okay. I really just didn't feel confident in the work that I produced. And that was my personal problem. And I thought that I was below other students, especially, hearing whispers of how excited students are, how well they're doing. It's not a great feeling when you feel like you're beneath others. So I truly felt like I didn't belong. I remember, crying a bit at the start of my year, but it was what it was in the moment. And, I felt like, being the first in my family to even attend university, this is such a privilege. It's such an opportunity. And I really wanted to push forward and move past that. Right. But it's still a feeling that hits me throughout undergrad. It's not something that stopped. It's just gaining that confidence to believe that you are as equal as any other student sitting next to you. But I do understand, I know that if I felt that way, and I'm pretty sure other people in my own community feel that way as well. And I know that I have friends who have told me that. I have friends who haven't pursued post-secondary education because of these kinds of barriers, because of these feelings, because they feel like university isn't for them, because they've been told that university isn't for them since high school. So, mentoring Somali youth is something that, I've done for a while now, but it's to ensure that other people feel empowered enough to actually take on this next step and come to post-secondary, or to pursue education past high school, regardless if it's college or university, to feel like you can accomplish something. And give them that, not just guidance, if they need academic guidance, but also that personal guidance as well, just being a friend for a lot of these people. And on top of that, I joined ASSU in my first year to find some sort of community and to ensure that other people felt like they had a community here at the university. And one of the first projects I created was our Student Success Day conference, where we invited high school students from marginalized communities across Toronto to attend a one-day conference at the University of Toronto to understand, what university has to offer them, but to also see, a diversity of disciplines, a diversity of faces, a diversity of experience, of history, everything, and to show them, to really show them that there is a place for them at university, and there is a place for them at University of Toronto. So that was an incredible experience. We had our course unions, really guide workshops and show them what, different programs had to offer, and our students left feeling empowered. So as I continue with my role in ASSU, it's not just, projects I create, but even as a leader, I want to ensure that, any student who speaks to me or any student I come across feels like they have some sort of community here at the university, because imposter syndrome is not fun, and it is a barrier, and it will stop people from even moving forward throughout their undergraduate studies.
I absolutely agree with you. And I hope that there's, first year students listening to this, or maybe someone comes across our page in high school as well, and they're able to feel that they can connect with what you have done and find a place for themselves at university and further education.
Hope so.
But okay, so changing tracks a little bit, we just wanted to ask you, what are you reading these days? What are you watching? What are you up to outside school?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is embarrassing. It's not embarrassing, but so over the reading, I'll talk. So first of all, my favorite television show that I'm still watching, new season's out, Murdoch Mysteries. Love that show. I will rep it. Canada's #1 drama. I keep telling all of my friends, they don't watch it, whatever. So Murdoch Mysteries is my fave. But in terms of like books, right? So reading week was a really, really great time for me, because I got a couple of days to myself, and I got to actually catch up on reading. I love to read for fun. But I got into, so there's this book that everyone's promoting on like Twitter, on TikTok or whatever. It's like, One of Us is Lying. So I read that, and that was a really good book. And then I read We Were Liars, which is another kind of similar book. And then I just read the whole kind of genre of like mysteries and whatever. So I was reading a book a day. And I know. And I was like, I have to stop, because I'm reading from like the sun to the sun, because it's still winter. Yeah. And I was like, this needs to end. But it was a great reading week. So like I'm reading, that's the genre I'm into right now. It's like mystery, kind of thriller, kind of YA. So I'm in there. And then Murdoch Mysteries as my television show.
Totally get that. I love whoddunit so much.
Yeah, I love that.
And then I watched like Murder on the Orient Express, the movie. I've been like holding back on that. I saw that over the winter break.
It's so fun.
Really good movie. Yeah, it's so fun.
So what are you looking forward to most about living in Oxford, living in the UK?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Lots of things. So first of all, this is my first experience living away from home. So I'm not sure, what percentage of this is excitement, what percentage of this is kind of like, oh, like leaving home, because like I live in a really, really big family. So that's going to be something to experience. I think it's going to be a really good experience though, because it's my first time, trying new things, really cool. But, what I'm most excited to actually like experience is meeting the people who attend Oxford. Oxford is like a really international kind of institution. Students from across the world attend Oxford. So I'm going to be listening from the opinions and perspectives of students from, from one end of the globe to the next. So I'm really excited to just meet new people and share experiences with them, and having this opportunity to just find my own way outside of my home for once, right? So really fun.
And it is a beautiful campus too. There's plenty of Harry Potter walks going through for any of the movie sets that they used.
I searched all the colleges. Like I know a couple of colleges already where they filmed Harry Potter. I'm ready to just go into them and see what's going on. New College, for example. I know we have a New College at U of T, but New College at Oxford, like the dining hall is used for a lot of Harry Potter films as well. So it's going to be really fun just taking a glance at what's going on there.
What college are you going to be a part of at Oxford, or do you know yet?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I've already submitted my applications. I'm looking hopefully to get into Balliol. But I'm just not I don't know yet. So we'll see. We'll see where I go. I could go literally anywhere. So
And I guess we have one last question for you. And this is, it's a few years down the line, and I'm sure it's probably difficult to answer this one, but how do you envision your life, your career, where you want to go after finishing your studies at Oxford? What is your plan in your head of what happens next?
so funny because so many people ask this question. So at this rate, I think I kind of know. I kind of have like a roadmap. It's not obviously set in stone. But once I finish, my master's, so I get to do two courses at Oxford. So once I complete my 2 years there, hopefully, well, I already know that I'm probably going to come back to Toronto and pursue a legal education. And become a lawyer, because the reason why I'm studying a lot of what I'm studying is to directly support these communities that I've grown up with, so immigrant and refugee communities, but also racialized communities, communities who are poor, communities who are just marginalized in general, right? So I want to work in the fields to support these kinds of communities, and then moving forward, I probably like years down the line, I want to enter some type of politics, because a lot of what I want to see in terms of reform, especially in terms of criminal justice reform, but also like social reforms, there's the whole thing is like there's so many intertwining factors that create just one problem, right? So you can't just enter one field and conquer everything that you want to conquer. So politics has a way of encompassing a lot of those factors, but at the same time, if I want to, push for a certain type of reform in a certain type of area, you have to also ensure that, those who are empowered to actually make these kinds of reforms do that. And unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of that. So I want to be in a position where that can actually happen. And it's looking like, entering the political arena. And I don't know in what capacity yet, but, hopefully in some way, shape, or form to help push for the changes that we want to see in a community like mine. So that's like a really, I don't know if that's going to happen, right? But that's the goal.
Thank you. And that's all of the questions that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And congratulations on behalf of the IR community. We're all so proud of you. So it's really fantastic to be able to pick your brain for a few minutes. And I hope you have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you so much. Thank you both for having me so much. This was fun.